Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and this is Let's Play. Is it recording? Yes. Anyway, is it? I'm pretty sure it is. Is it? Yes. But yeah, this is Let's Play Crimson Gray Blind Part 5. Yeah, there are apparently 10 achievements, and I've gotten 6 of them so far. So, let's try to start this. You've unlocked at least one bonus from the previous games. This will make positive outcomes more likely and negative outcomes less so. Do you want to play with these bonuses? I don't see a yes. Where do I find a yes option? Or no? I will do the bonuses. John had always thought of himself as a stable person. Okay, so I'm playing with bonuses this time. Alice, I'm going to try to aim for good end. So, I'm going to try to do everything possible . I think I did wrong there. Well, let's try keeping watch in the locker. When he woke up the next day, he felt a little better. Things have been fine. When he opened his locker, he discovered a folded note in the exact center. Like always, he started staring at the moment before. Okay. Why are you watching? Who else would do that for you? Is there another girl? No, you wouldn't do that. Surely not. John realized that he was way over his head. Okay, so... Well, I'm not really trying to get a full... Talk to a pharmacist. I'd recommend Paxitine or Cerazine. No, that's not enough. Excuse me, I don't think... I'm on Paxitine. This isn't as simple of a problem. I'm worried she might hurt someone. I see. Is there something else you can tell me, young man? No, I just want to wish someone get some help. If the condition is serious, I do have 2 suggestions. You need a blood test, prescribe either. What do you suggest? Now, is there yawning? Okay, so either way I find out about these things. Okay. Thank you. No, I'm starting not to really read it as much either. Stepping out of the street, John glanced at his watch and decided he had some time before other options. Okay. Research library. Yeah, okay, went library, researched books. It felt really ineffectual. He wished there was a better way to get information. But there weren't a lot of options in one of his classes. They claimed the computers would eventually make things easier, but the school couldn't afford any. One of the few things he could do was skim through various books about mental illnesses, reference to symptoms like Lizzie's. Her case sounded much worse than anything he had read about. All of the articles suggested that most mentally ill people were non-violent, but he knew that wasn't true of Lizzie. Though there wasn't a lot of current information about Koitek, he did find there were a lot of crackpots who felt medicine was ineffective. Even Paxton had critics who felt it was being rushed to the markets. John forced himself to stop reading about that, since it just made him feel worse. Instead, he focused on selecting potential drugs for Lizzie. All of the sources seemed to agree that what he had already heard. The strongest drugs Koitek made for conditions were Yondequil or Nilazine. It was getting late, and John realized that he needed to get home quickly. If he wanted to have time for his homework on his way back, he was sure Lizzie was following, but couldn't get a clear look at her. At least it was only one day until the weekend. Friday passed faster. Okay. Oh! I don't have a choice of the other thing. Well, I accepted her thing this time, so maybe it'll have a different. Sunday was miserable. Good morning, John. Morning, are you right, Lizzie? I spent yesterday thinking and come to some conclusions. So what do you want to conclude? For such a long time, the most I can imagine was being near you, talking to you. But now I see that's not enough. You have to be protected. I have to do it. Lizzie? What they said to you, it made me so angry I wanted to kill them. Then you'd be safe. Wait, you didn't? No, I didn't. Because you have to be protected from me, too. What? Since I took the medicine, I see things clearly. Differently. I don't like it, but I understand better now. I don't want you to be afraid of me. John, I'll protect you, no matter what. She seemed sad, but so sincere. What was I supposed to say to something like that? You don't need to say anything. Don't worry, please don't worry. I'll protect you. That's all I can do. I had a really good time on Saturday. I meant it. I'm glad to see you're happy too. John is so kind. Too kind. I'll see you later. She rushed away too quickly, leaving John completely uncertain what to think. In some way she seemed more stable, yet that wasn't a complete comfort. Lizzie was still carrying her knife. On Tuesday, okay, we're skipping again. Yet there was an occasional moment where he saw a hint of something feral in her eyes. He worried that she would do something she's capable of if she thought it was necessary. Okay. What kind of question is that? Now I'm just skipping. I've been reading for hours. And a lot of this stuff doesn't seem new. So how is the Nilazine working for you? No unpleasant side effects? It's wonderful. Thank you so much for giving it to me. Well, I hope you can find some more once the dose runs out. That's so sweet, but it's not necessary. Help me to understand our relationship clearly. I don't need it anymore. But John, we've been dating since you accepted my confession. But we've only done normal things. I love being with you every single moment. But can we do something more romantic? I wonder what happens if I turn her down. Her mother looked kind in the picture, but John knew all too well that worst parents try to act like most loving. When Lizzie had spoken of her mother earlier, her terms had been negative. He wondered briefly if there could have been abuse of some kind. It was a painful thought, but maybe it would explain Lizzie's desperation for love. Or maybe he was making up bullshit. He hated it when people made up sob stories about his condition, after all. John checked the door, but it was locked or jammed, so instead he ambled back to the living room. Lizzie was probably almost ready. He wanted to be waiting for her when she saw it was done. She finally emerged wearing clothes that seemed more comfortable. John wasn't sure if he was relieved or disappointed. Okay. It wasn't lingerie, but he didn't mind seeing her dressed casually either. Lizzie smiled at his expression and came to sit beside him on the couch. I wish I could have worn a dress today, but I like this better. Dresses are nice, but they're uncomfortable, you know? I'm gonna save just because I'm not really sure what's happening here. Like, what is this path that I have now? I'm just being silly. They're really uncomfortable, though. I like it when you look at me. Whether I'm trying to be beautiful or not, it makes me happy. She slid closer to him, apparently unaware how much her body was touching his. No, she was probably even more aware than he was. You make me happy. I'm so glad to be with you, too. I'm so glad to hear you say that. John, I want you to stay here tonight. You mean it? With me? Together. As the night took a sharp turn, John did his best not to panic. He had not thought this date would actually go there, much less in such an obsessive way. But did he have to panic? Lizzie was usually this obsessive, and she brought it up in the most stable way. Besides, they were dating. It wouldn't be strange for them to sleep together, and yet the look in her eyes. John? Oh, she's asking me to fuck her. Okay, I'll stay with you. Oh, John. Lizzie leaned even closer, kissing him gently. For the first time in a very long time, John tried to relax and just be with someone. She slid one of her legs over his, climbing on his lap, wrapping her arms around his head to deepen the kiss. A moan of pure satisfaction escaped his lips, resonating through him. You want this, don't you? God, Lizzie, don't stop. But she did, going still and holding his face with both hands so that he met her eyes. He shivered as he saw the unfettered desire in her blinking eyes. I want you, John, but I want all of you, every last bit. I need to know you want this. Lizzie, I never met anyone like you before, I won't lie, and say everything has been easy, but you're one of the only things that brings any color to my life. I still can't quite believe you want someone like me, but if you really do, I want you so badly. She responded with a kiss of searing intensity, then pulled back and began tugging at their clothes. When I'm done, you'll never be able to doubt it again. Lizzie drew him to the couch and caught him in another kiss, and for a time they lost each other themselves. This is a much healthier way to establish a relationship than, the fucking dungeon. Oh, I found you. That was amazing. Yeah, so good. I'll remember this moment forever. Oh shit, we didn't put on a condom or anything. You can get... Shh. She silenced him with a kiss, less intense than before, but still enough to take his breath away. We don't need to worry about that. I have an IUD. A what? It doesn't matter. What it means is I can't get pregnant unless we want to. Oh, okay. Is it as good as a condom? No condoms. I need to feel you. Feel you completely, utterly, and absolutely. After a moment, he decided that he would just trust her. Yeah, trust her this far, after all. I don't think you should trust her. I mean, because more than likely she just lied to you, but I don't know. John wrapped his arms around her and held her close. They were sweaty and sticky, but Lizzie obviously didn't care. For resting and so peacefully, neither did he. That night they slept together, literally just lying in the same bed with their clothes back on. Lizzie curled up against his side, and to his surprise, he went to sleep very quietly. When he woke up the next morning, he found that she was gone, but he could smell something cooking in the kitchen. John climbed out of bed and wandered toward the kitchen. There he found Lizzie, marrying humbly to herself and working on several dishes at once. Oh, you're awake. I was going to bring you breakfast in bed, but you woke up too early. It smells great. He thought he should hug her from behind or give her a kiss or something, but he felt something strangely shy. Lizzie didn't seem to mind, instead urging him to sit down and relax instead of helping. That felt awkward, but with Lizzie in such a good mood, he decided not to contradict her. As she bustled around the kitchen, she frequently shooting him adoring glances or kissing him on the cheek. There was no hint of instability. Did you sleep okay? I really, really hope you did. Yeah, it was fine. Because I've never cared about how comfortable that bed was. But then I realized it might be uncomfortable. If it was, I can get rid of it if it doesn't. It's okay, Lizzie. I was completely comfortable. Oh, good. I wanted everything to be perfect. I made so many plans, but then I thought that I might have forgotten something, and now he did get up to kiss her. It felt strange, but she responded with a blissful cooing noise. Breakfast was finished soon, and an impressive spread of bacon, eggs, and waffles. Yay, a full breakfast! Lizzie sat and watched them eat the first bite before she took any for herself. They only chatted lightly as they ate, as if making up for how heavy things had been before. It helped him to fully wake up, though, and reassured him that Lizzie wouldn't do anything crazy. Technically, she didn't lock you up in this timeline. Well, do anything crazy in the near future about this. Did you like it? It tasted good as it smells. Oh good, I've never really cared about the taste of food, so I was afraid I hadn't done a good job. You just didn't care about the taste? It never seemed to matter, but this breakfast tasted good because I was eating it with you, John. I'm glad, but sorry, but I have to go back a second there. You didn't really enjoy food. That's kind of sad. I mean, it actually is. I mean, granted, it probably helps you stay skinnier than me, but still. I mean, I enjoy eating food. It brings me joy. I wasn't sad. I wasn't really, but that's not important right now. We can talk about it later. Is this recording? Yes. Okay. He considered pressing, but decided against it. After all, he hated when people harassed him about the details of his condition. If Lizzie was working through her problems, he wanted to be helpful, and that meant backing off sometimes. So I'd like to spend the entire vacation with you, like every single day, but maybe you want some space too? I feel like a save is in order. Well, it's okay really, but can I walk you to the bus stop? Of course. It almost seemed bizarre if you acting shy after they had sex, but John decided that it made sense. She showed a pattern of getting closer, then retreating for a while. He found the depression and energy came in waves as well, and it was better to ride them out instead of fighting the trends. Besides, maybe distance would do her a little good too. When they reached the stop, she let go of his hand, but grasped his sleeve to keep him there. You liked it, right? Liked what? Oh, you're asking me to save? That's concerning. Everything. Our date, our breakfast, and last night. Yeah, I did. You're incredible, Lizzie. I still can't believe you're interested in me. And I don't scare you, do I? Do you want me to change? He stared at her for a moment, trying to decide what kind of question that was, then eventually shrugged. You seem just fine to me. Is everything alright? Hee hee hee, it is now. I actually stopped taking the Nilazine the day before our date. I'll just accept your choice. Well, no, it was helpful. I guess you know yourself best. I'm glad it helped them. I just wanted to let you know. You don't need to be worried about me. I know you're mine now. Not exactly a comforting statement, but it seemed clear that Lizzie was doing the best to be reassuring. She looked at him so earnestly, he couldn't bring himself to do anything but agree. Thanks, Lizzie. Let's take care of our homework. Then we can spend more time together later in the vacation, okay? Okay, see you soon, John. After watching him go for a while, got on. Without her constant energy beside him, he felt a lot more subdued, but it didn't slide into depression. John still wasn't sure how he felt about everything. He was happy, that was obvious, but he wondered just how stable Lizzie really was. Could things have gone differently under different circumstances? But they didn't. So, yep, you didn't get locked in a fucking basement! So they didn't. He couldn't stop wasting energy worrying about it. For now, he was happy to return home and slide into a normal routine for a while. He spent the rest of the Saturday working on assignments. It was nothing too bad, but combined with the chores around the house, he didn't get everything done. His father called once to say that he had headed on a surprise camping vacation. That was just as well. The house felt awkward without him around. As John went to sleep that night, he decided that he would spend Sunday finishing his work or maybe even hanging out with someone else. Then he'd called Lizzie to get together Monday. That seemed like an appropriate length of time to wait. Despite his concerns, she really did seem content. If she could wait until Monday, maybe he could put his worries behind him. Then Sunday morning, he woke up feeling like shit. He knew his plans were already in the trash. He just wanted to lay there. No, he wanted to die. But he didn't have the strength to even contemplate that. So he just lay in bed. But today he couldn't even lie forever. A strange surge of motivation struck him, and he managed to crawl over to the phone and call Lizzie's phone number. Hello? She picked up on the very first ring, but he was too depressed to think much about it. Lizzie, Good morning, John. It's not... I'm having a bad day. I'll be crappy company, but if you... I'll come right over. He didn't even hang up the phone. Just curled up on the floor beside it. It felt like an eternity laying there, but it couldn't have been long before Lizzie arrived at the house. She immediately made him get up and eat something, urging him on with boundless energy. Now he had to move a little just to avoid disappointing her. After an hour, he wasn't feeling like doing anything, but he managed to force himself to go outside, on the assumption that it would help. And it did. For once in his life, he managed to do what Mrs. Smythe told him to do, and socialize instead of withdrawing into himself. To his surprise, it actually helped. By the end of the day, he actually felt better. He hadn't believed that a morning like that one could be redeemed. Yet somehow, Lizzie had turned it around. Lizzie seemed happy the entire day. Oh, I accidentally typed stuff. Let's go back a little bit. Once he had the mental energy for it, he reflected that she had tempered her enthusiasm during his current mood, always encouraging him just enough. And when he got tired near the end of the day, she noticed and actually left her own volition. He even managed to do some work and not feel shitty about going to sleep, thinking he had the best girlfriend in the world. The rest of the vacation passed in a peaceful enough blur. On their last weekend before they had to go back to school, he ended up back at Lizzie's house. They watched a movie on her large but incredibly dusty TV. Now they just sat together on the couch. This was nice, John. Yeah, it really was. I wish we never had to go back to school. We could go together every single day. Well, eventually we'll graduate. Then there's no more school. That sounds nice. Though I suppose there will be work. You never really get a vacation when you retire, I guess. I wonder how I'd do with retirement. Some days it feels like my routines are all that keep me going. Don't worry, I'll take care of you. Just like I've taken care of everything this vacation. It has been a lot better than usual. Thank you, Lizzie. No, thank you. This has been wonderful. John, do you want to have sex again? Decline. Suggest a later time. I want what? Agree. Sure. Can if you want. And if I don't want? Huh? Last time. It was too much for me. I think I can't handle so much emotion at once. Oh. But let's wait for a little while, okay? I think this will be better for the long term. It used to be I couldn't think so far ahead. Everything just ended when I reached you. But now that I have you, I'm starting to think further into the future. I just want us to have each other forever and ever. Since he didn't have a good answer, John just held her a little closer. Lizzie lay her head against his chest, and he kissed the top of it gently. They stayed there for a little while, and for a moment he was only happy. And then the gears in his brain began turning again. Fortunately, it took him to something other than the mire of depression. I think you were capable of planning before, though. I mean, you got an IUD, that requires a lot of planning. At first, before I met you, I could hardly ever bear to imagine anything beyond that meeting. Did you just fuck him to... okay. The eyes have me concerned. But then, when you actually noticed me, actually cared for me, I started thinking a little more. I knew you always worried and got sad, so I wanted to prepare so that you would focus entirely on me. That was just a simple fragment of plan, though. My plans were very strange. Strange how? Lizzie giggled cheerfully and shook her head against her chest. Don't worry about it, they don't matter now. They involve a fucking dungeon. We can make new plans. Together, sitting there with her, it sounded pretty good. Maybe everything would work out after all. It's recording, right? Several days later, John was assigned a female lab partner in science class. Oh dear, no! What have you done to me, Fate? What fate is this? She was an okay match. He didn't know her very well, but she seemed always compassionate about his depression. Okay. They worked together fine, just completed their assignments, and experienced just fine. But when he stepped outside, he spotted Lizzie watching him and gnawing on her fingers. No, not watching him. Watching his classmate. Well, shit. The next day, he made sure to invite Lizzie to eat lunch with him in the forest in their usual spot. She came, but didn't bring any lunch for him or for herself. They grabbed food in the cafeteria instead, but the mood remained strange. Are you doing okay, Lizzie? John, you love me, right? Of course I do. Good. Do we need to talk about my new lab partner? Because I didn't ask for a change, the teacher decided. No, there's no need to talk about it ever again. John. This was obviously not getting him anywhere. While chewing on a sandwich, John tried to think something to get his mind off the subject. Okay. Let's try romance. For the rest of lunch, Lizzie was floating on a cloud of positive emotions. When she gazed him adoringly, John found himself smiling back. Given how well the conversation went, he could almost think that everything was better, but a dark part of his mind told him that it would never be that easy. As if fate wanted to taunt him, the entire week was scheduled to be lab assignments. His classmate did her fair share and was friendly enough, so it would have been easy if not for Lizzie. He couldn't spot her anymore, but he was sure she was watching. It was possible that she'd become better hiding herself. You hear of me, John? Sorry. My head's in the clouds. What am I missing? Nothing. We're done. I was saying good job, but you didn't seem to hear at all. I didn't. Sorry. I've been distracted lately. No big deal. Hey, can I ask you a question, though? Feel like a save is in order. You and Lizzie are dating, right? Yeah? What's she like? I tried to get to know her once, but it's like she's not even on the same planet. I'm surprised she found anyone. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for her. I'm just a little curious is all. Say romantic things about Lizzie. Say positive things. Say very little. Say negative things about Lizzie. Warn lab partner. I'm going to say romantic things. She's the best girlfriend I could ever ask for. Do you think she's listening or something? I don't think. I know! Is she? I mean, no, she's honestly just such a sweet and caring, kind person. I'm kind of glad to hear you. I wanted to believe good things about her. Anyway, I was just asking out of curiosity. Maybe our high school only has one lost cause now. Lost cause? Girls who none of us can get along with. I mean, but if Lizzie has a boyfriend, I guess that excludes her from the category. So who's left? It's not me, is it? Ah, no, it's another girl in our year. I forget her name now. Actually, she may be dating one of your friends now. Then why is she still lost cause? As near as I can tell, she rarely gets obsessed with a boy, but it never lasts. But sorry, I didn't mean to throw this much gossip at you. That's okay. Anyway, you headed to your locker too. We should have been walking while we talked. Not that I think about it. No, I have to stay here to do something. Alright, see you. Being seen walking with her would have been even worse from Lizzie's perspective. John wondered if he'd already made a mistake talking with her that long, but it was too late to change now. Would Lizzie really spend her entire life being jealous of him? For now, he didn't have the strength to multiple relationships, so it didn't matter much, but later in life he'd have to have friends too. Or was it just women that bothered her? Asking directly probably wouldn't help, but he could. Lizzie was standing directly behind him. Hey Lizzie, how are you? John, did something bad happen? I wish you wouldn't talk to her. The conversation was literally that you're a great girlfriend. What are you upset by? You don't really think she's trying to steal me, do you? But she is. She wants to steal your time every single day. What, do you just get upset every time anyone talks to me? Lizzie, I love you. Only you. Thank you, John. I think I'll always need to hear you say that. So no more problems? Okay, just don't smile at her so much. I'll do my best, but seriously, I wouldn't be smiling at anyone if not for you. With that, Lizzie slipped out of the room again. John felt as though he should stop her, but it was already too late. He took a deep breath and rubbed his eyes. Hopefully this would just be an annoyance, not an actual problem. With Lizzie, it was hard to tell, but she hadn't done anything dangerous since the tree. Next, John had another session scheduled with Mrs. Smythe, so he grabbed his books and headed over to her office. Found Miss Smythe Miller work as usual. Today seemed heavier than normal. John, there you are. Mind if we jump straight to business today? Sure, that's fine. Before he could stop himself, he'd already agreed with her. John sighed and gave up and lay down on the couch. This was one day he had actually wanted to discuss more with her, but it was easy for him to fold when other forceful. At least the therapy session made him feel a little better. It was a little low hum in the back of his mind, drowning out everything else, giving him plenty of time to think exactly what he wanted to do. There were two questions: if there were anything he could do to help Lizzie, and if he needed to do anything to protect others from her. It was a knotty issue, but by the end of the therapy session, as he got to believe, he felt as if he had his answer. Ask Mrs. Smythe about how to stabilize a person. Ask her about a way to prevent violence. Leave without saying a damn fucking thing. Whatever he could do, he wouldn't do it here. John put his head down and left. Outside Miss Smythe's office, John shook his head and tried to refocus. He still wasn't sure how much of a threat Lizzie might be. Maybe what he needed was to turn her own trick back on her. For the next several days, John stalked Lizzie through her routine. Part of her routine was stalking him, so that made things strange pretty quickly. But he made sure to keep an eye on her. Stalking your stalker. That's stalkception! She went about doing normal things, but he lost track of her during most classes, and after observing closely, John realized that she tended to disappear during free periods as well. One day he spotted her slipping away and followed. She headed to an empty classroom right next to the cafeteria. Lizzie? Ah! Oh, John, I didn't expect to see you here. What is that beaker you're holding? Just a chemistry project we're working on. They let you take one of the beakers out of the lab with chemicals in it? I don't know what to say. I'll just be romantic. Lizzie, don't worry about whatever it is bothering you. Come over here and give me a kiss. Aw, John's so sweet. I need to work hard now, right? You sure there's no time to relax? How about our date? Next week should be good. Things will be taken care of then. Alright, I'll plan for it. Well, that's all I had to say. I trust you not doing anything unwise. Lizzie, do you trust me? Of course, John. I trust you completely. Good. Let's schedule another date for sometime soon, okay? Okay. She smiled at him adoringly as he left. John felt better about the situation until he got home, and his mood crashed. I want to finish reading. I had no idea if premonition or just depression. Either way, he just went to sleep and stopped thinking for a while. Okay? Did she burn down the school? Several days later, there was an incident of food poisoning in the cafeteria. He wasn't there at the time, but everyone heard all about it from teachers. Several students got sick, and one died. His lab partner. That day, Lizzie was with him almost the entire time. She never slipped off like usual and was nowhere near the cafeteria at the time of the food poisoning. But that day, she brought lunches for both of them. It was something she did frequently, but it still stuck in John's mind, and he couldn't let the issue go. The death changed the atmosphere of the school completely. Students who were excited about graduating were now somber. A terrible pall cast over everything. There was a large investigation. The police seemed more grim than a simple case of food poisoning warranted. Not only that, they brought with them the first food inspectors, the scientists from Korytek. But in the end, there were no charges. The school received a minor reprimand for carelessness, and a new cafeteria guideline were implemented, but nothing changed. Except that he had no lab partner, and Lizzie seemed purely happy again. John, you look so serious. What are you thinking about? Express regret over the death. Answer honestly. Express excitement about graduation. I am excited about graduating. You're right. I have some ideas, but I'm not sure yet. What about you? I want to stay with you, of course. That's it? No specific jobs you want? Or place you want to live? Nope, none of that matters, so long as I'm with you. From that moment on, he didn't think about the issue much, but he felt a grim certainty that it had been poisoned. The worst part was, he didn't change anything. He and Lizzie kept dating. She was a murderer. Yet he took joy in her presence and let her pick him up when he was depressed. Did that make him an awful person? Yes, but we all are awful people. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I even said in my introduction and my comments, my about, I am a horrible person. So, welcome to the club. He wasn't sure. Never killed anyone, though. Actually, I don't think I've ever really hurt anybody. Except for, like, self-defense things. Still, that was, just not dying, so. Okay. He wasn't sure. And in moments like when the world seemed entirely gray, he didn't care. This seems like a different ending. The school year got away from him. Okay. Occasional romantic date. Sky looked very gray. On occasion, he still had a library to look up more Korytek. Okay. Eventually, sat back to shook his head. Oh, ride a roller coaster stuff. They got in a short line, which would put them in the next group ride. John actually spied one of his classmates currently on his girlfriend. They waved at each other, but they were far too far apart. I don't think she was scared. You're lost, man, and seriously it is. The girl might be crazy, but she's not hot as hell. You don't make a move on her, I might. Okay, I'll fucking beat the shit out of you, motherfucker. I mean, almost anyone looks good in our school uniform, but she really rocks it. And those tits, gotta be one of the best pairs in the school. But I wouldn't give to motorboat those. Hello, John. Oh, holy shit! Hello, Lizzie. Unless you boys are talking about something important, maybe we can be off? Yeah, that sounds fine. I thought I was going to die. He worried that she might be upset, but Lizzie seemed more amused than anything. Once they got some distance away, she glanced at him shyly. Do you like them too, John? What do you... Oh, yes, you're very beautiful, Lizzie. Hey, I don't want to be just you, though. Come this way. She ran the stall the way Potter closed for her. I'd never even dream of looking at him. John, I only care about you. Hey, at least you're loyal. That's a good quality that a lot of people seem to not have. That's one thing I can say I'm never worried about. Good. I know I can be difficult with them, but I want to say how nice I can be too. He leaned back against the wall and he moment to catch his breath. Lizzie seemed to have no trouble fixing her shirt and then rising to give him a hug. Wow, that felt amazing. Good, I liked it too. Maybe we do more of it this time. The cold air forced him to step away. John, do you dislike all murder? What are you talking about? If I knew about something and I could stop it, would you want me to? Yes, of course, Lizzie. Is something wrong? Can you buy me some cotton candy? I promise I'll be right back. Lizzie, you can talk to me about anything, right? I don't want you to look at me and be afraid. With that, she vanished, and she's going to stop the other person. Oh, because, yeah, the roller coaster. Okay. So what happened is they... Okay, I'm starting to pass out again. Ugh. I should have definitely gone to sleep a while ago, but I'm wanting to keep playing this. Because like I said, there's no consequences for staying up because I don't have to go to work tonight, so I'm having fun doing this. I want to keep recording. Okay, blurry. Still blurry. Kinda. Okay, I think I'm okay. Okay, so the people that keep killing each other in the thing from earlier is the people that went on the roller coaster. I feel like the music's a little too loud. Turn it down a little. But yeah, that being said, it means they had a quickie. They only had sex for a few minutes because by the time they got down the roller coaster, had he done something wrong or something seriously terribly going on, he felt like he should have stopped her from leaving, but doubted he could have. With no way of following her, he decided to do what she asked and get in line. It was a pretty long one. He decided to wait. Yet he got closer and closer to the stand without Lizzie reappearing. Eventually he had 2 cones of cotton candy and one left standing there. He was vaguely conscious of the fact that he probably looked ridiculous with one in each hand. Yet that feeling was overwhelmed by a growing sense of concern. And that was when the police showed up. They seemed to come abruptly, sirens wailing, uniformed men and women moving through the fairgrounds with grim expressions. Anyone who asked them what was going on, they had to stay back. With them, John realized there was a number of others dressed in unmasked, unmarked clothing. No unmarked body armor. They were armed like some private army, yet he didn't see any sign of who they were from. Increasingly uncomfortable, John gathered the other confused fairgoers. They were clustered around a woman who seemed to know what was going on. It was horrible. The boy just opened up like a wild animal and The boy was just opened up, like a wild animal had attacked him, but the police were saying it looked like a knife did it. Wait, who died? I didn't reckon, but it was a boy about your age, and there was a girl with him, her throat cut right open. One of the policemen made a phone call. Next thing I knew, they moved me away. Everyone showed up. They wouldn't tell me anything else. Feeling sick to his stomach, John stumbled away from the group. He stared at the brightly colored cotton candy for a while, then dumped it into a trash can. What was going on? He didn't want to think Lizzie could have done it, but he knew that she could. But what she had said, John, the whisper made him look around wildly, but he didn't catch a glimpse of her. Instead, he began looking around desperately for any shadow where she might be hiding. I'm sorry, I was too late. I underestimated what she was. Lizzie, what are you talking about? After a moment, he spotted her, a slightly different colored shadow behind a building. When he rushed over her, she didn't run. John? Though she had tried to wipe herself off, there were lingering streaks of blood all over her hands and shirt. John stared at her, realizing that she had her hand to her side holding something. He knew what it was she was gripping. Lizzie, did you do this? No, please, believe me. I would kill anyone for you, but I didn't kill him. What about her? She was the one who did it. I tried to stop her. John, we can't stand around talking. I'll explain you what, but we have to get away. Going to make another save. He just stared at her, wondering if he could believe anything she said. He didn't want to believe she would have murdered both of them, but he knew she was capable of it. John, please, you need to come with me, right now. Now he could see for certain that she was holding her knife. It trembled. No, her entire body was trembling intensely. Okay, let's try to help escape. Alright, I'll trust you. Where are we going? We need to get away, far away, but come here. Though Lizzie pulled him through the back alleys and tents to go further away from the crime scene, after that he was the one who needed to help her. He stole a cheap shirt from the abandoned stall and brought it back to her. Lizzie had already stripped out all of her clothes, completely shamelessly. She used her old shirt to wipe off the last of the blood, then burned all the evidence. The knife she dismantled and had him drop in a portable toilet, which he hoped would be good enough for now, since she wouldn't let go of her other knives. Now newly clothed, they held hands like a normal couple and tried to walk out of the fairgrounds. There were a lot of people rushing to get out, so it was easy to get lost in the crowd, but John kept having the feeling that someone was following them. There was something hard in Lizzie's eyes, too. When they got far enough away, they slipped down a slide alley and began taking side routes away from the residential district. John realized that they weren't headed for the bus stop. Lizzie, what's going on? Shh, there. Then he saw them. Several of the men wearing blank clothing had spread across the alley in front of them, and were more approaching them. Just as he started to panic, Lizzie abruptly pushed him so hard that he smacked the wall painfully. I'll deal with you later, meatbag. Her voice sounded so hateful that he was shocked, but then he understood. She was trying to protect him. Even when being attacked by multiple armed men, she was going to sacrifice herself to protect him. That was the exact moment the bottom dropped out of his mind. A worthless piece of slime like him didn't deserve her. I never believed her tip would be right. She knows what she's doing. She's done a lot for the company. But really, just one girl? Shut up, both of you. This isn't a girl. It's an unstable animal. With that command, the soldiers raised their weapon. While they had been talking, Lizzie had not been standing idly. Though he hadn't noticed, she had slipped beside a trash bag when the soldiers began to raise their guns. She kicked it toward a group of men, even as she spun and swept around toward the others. Holy shit! It's like Kratos is a woman now. This feels like God of War 7. John could only watch in numb shock before the men on the opposite end of the alley could aim again. She was upon them, and her axe cleaved through them with terrible force. All he could do was watch her. I really should have drank a soda. Amidst the bloody sprays, think he didn't deserve to have her protecting him. But as inhumanely fast as she moved, the two men near in the alley were professionals. They had wasted a few shots in the trash bag and taken a moment to reorient, and now they were aiming toward her again. Depression clung to him in a heavy cloud, but for the first time in his life, a sense of urgency pierced through it. He could see exactly what would happen. Lizzie would try to attack the men near him, but it would be too late. She wasn't that fast. But they were so close, and they had completely ignored him. Before he knew what happened, he had somehow pulled himself to his feet. The world seemed gray, and he felt too heavy to do anything, but he didn't care. The men saw him move, almost turn on, but that was too late. He was tumbling straight into them. They cursed, and one of them struck him to the ground, adding a ringing pain to echo in his ears. But then Lizzie was there, her blade slashing in two brutal strikes. She knelt over him the next second, laughing wildly, crying, kissing his face. Her lips tasted like blood, but he didn't care about that either. The rest of that night was a gray blur for him, his energy completely drained by that one act. Even years later, when Lizzie told him the details, he struggled to match them to the gray haze in his memory. Somehow Lizzie had gotten them both to a secure location and cleansed them of all evidence. She had already had an emergency plan, so she had a car ready and driven them out of town before the police had figured out what happened. Days later, he read in the newspaper that the security forces had been Koitek men, and that they had got in hot water with the government for carrying so much concealed weaponry. They settled with the government for an undisclosed sum, of course, but it added enough tension to the case that the police were happy to get it over with as soon as possible. For several months he had lived in fear every day, but gradually that fear faded. He had Lizzie with him, after all. He had been afraid of slaughtering so many people like that would change her, but after that day, she became the very picture of a loving, attentive girlfriend, and before too long, wife. He knew that it couldn't really be over. Even if the case had been closed and Lizzie seemed stable, life wasn't so simple. She would still have to live with who she was, just like he needed to live with his depression. They had joyful days, and they had rough days. But at least on those, they could hold each other, and the world seemed a little less gray. For a while. End! Yeah, I got a different good ending. Everyone's happy! There is another path, young Jedi. Apparently that is not an achievement. Okay. Okay, let's see my other options. Help or hide! I trust you, but we can't run. We'll make them just focus on us. But, here, let's get you cleaned up. Back alleys, tents... For once, his experience of feeling numb to everything was useful. But after the police left, the security forces' unmarked clothes came. They listened to the same story, but then took them in without an explanation. Lizzie realized and struggled, but it was too late. Soon the two of them were in separate rooms in a police station. He still hadn't seen any insignias, but the men acted like they had real authority, and John didn't want to anger them, so he didn't question their right to hold them like this. Several questions in, he heard Lizzie cry out loud, so loudly that the sound pierced even the thick walls. It sounded like his name, but no matter how long passed, he couldn't be sure. He never saw Lizzie again after that, never got any answers. No charges were brought against him. He was sent back to high school and given a heavier dosage of Paxatine. Not that it mattered. With Lizzie gone, his soul seemed to crumble. He had always thought the sky looked gray, but now it looked darker every day. Game over. You are now sitting in the sad chair. Oh, that's an achievement. Alone. Okay, so we got another achievement. Load. So 3 more achievements to go. I'll probably have to avenge... Letting out choke sob, John turned and ran. The instant he did so, a flood of terror burst forth from his sight. He looked back over his shoulder, but Lizzie wasn't changed. Instead, tears were streaming down her face. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, officer. You had to help me. And they took him into protective custody as soon as he arrived. When he tried to answer questions, he was ignored. John sprinted toward where he heard the shots. Oh, they shot her. Oh, she got shot to death. Lizzie lay dead, knife falling from her hand. When they came to get him, he couldn't even hear their questions. Yep. Super sad. This one also is dead sadness. Okay, how far are we in the recording? 55 minutes? Okay, let's keep going. What else can I do? Oh, I could save the one person from... Oh, this is before the one thing. Say positive things. How do I prevent violence? I keep accidentally skipping stuff. She cast him skeptical glances. I sincerely doubt you could hurt anyone aside from yourself. But if I did make a threat, would the school have to handle that? Violence in school isn't that much of an issue generally. They'd probably just have to call the local police. Now, what is this about? Nothing, just curious. Outside Miss Smith, John shook his head and tried to refocus. He still wasn't sure how much of a threat Lizzie would be. Raise the issue bluntly. I don't want you to kill her. Ah? You're my girlfriend. She's just someone in the same class. There's no competition between you. I don't like how she looks at you. Seriously? She wouldn't dream of dating me. She's just being friendly. I don't like that either. Well, we don't have a choice. But if you just wait and don't hurt her, she'll go to a different class soon and then she'll be gone. And if you do try to hurt her, it will only cause problems. It could only make something come between us. You do understand. Well, that's all I had to say. I trust you not to do anything unwise, Lizzie. Do you trust me? Of course, John. I trust you completely. Good. Let's schedule another date for sometime soon, okay? Okay. She smiled. Okay, so that should fix it. Did you still kill the person? The girl who died. They were the ones who had the bad food, right? Maybe. Do you think I did it? Didn't you? John is so silly. I told you I wouldn't do anything, didn't I? Yes, you did. Then of course I wouldn't do anything. Now eat your food or it will get cold. From that moment on, so did I fail to convince her not to poison somebody to death? Help her escape. Okay. Yay, good end. We married female Kratos. And like I said, having a condition like this doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. It just means that, you should have self-control. Because killing people is wrong. And, if you're in a relationship, well, it should be established pretty, like rule 1, that you don't need to be scared of the person you're with. Sorry. I had to blow my nose. I know in between trying to upload one of the videos, I had to go outside and check mail. It's kind of cold and snowy. Now, where was I? Recording. Where are we at? An hour? I can keep going. Okay, so I failed to convince you not to kill people. Say romantic things. Did they give me another option? Leave without saying anything. Raise the issue indirectly. I'm just concerned, Lizzie. I wouldn't want you to hurt yourself doing anything dangerous. I'll be careful. I'm glad to hear that. The idea of you hurting yourself for someone else is one that makes me sad. John is such a kind person. Well, that's all I had to say. I trust you not to do anything unwise, Lizzie. Do you trust me? Of course, John. I trust you completely. Okay, did it work this time? You still fucking killed the person! I'm still upset about the dying, you know? I know it's stupid, but I feel like I should be able to do something. She was a good person. She should have had a long life ahead of her. It's not fair that a random chance ended her life so soon. Yes, the world really isn't fair, is it? From that moment on, grim certainty it was poison. This is just the game where I fuck female Kratos over and over. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try to say positive. How do I stabilize people? If someone has an obsessive compulsive disorder, how can you help them? Well, Kyotech has, other than medicine, say they're already taking it. What else? Obsessions usually happen by exposure to the object of the obsession. So, for example, if someone has arachnophobia, you start exposing them to pictures of spiders in safe contexts. Slowly work up to greater exposure. If someone is obsessed with someone, then it's often about the feedback loop. Maybe it would be better for them to avoid it entirely, or maybe expose them to it in small, controlled doses. What's this about anyway? Nothing, just... Okay. Gently. Lizzie, what are you going to do with those chemicals? You don't have to answer. I can guess. I'm not going to get angry or judge you. I just want you to know that I love you, and I would never look to anyone other than you. I hope you trust me enough to believe that. John is such a kind person. Well, that's all I had to say. I trust you not to do anything unwise. Lizzie, do you trust me? Of course, John. I trust you completely. Okay. How do I get you to not kill people? Well, we gotta fuck female Kratos one more time. Ah! Okay, what else can we do? What about this one? I will kiss you. We'll go morality? Honestly, I wouldn't advise getting to know her. She'd be a very prickly person. How do I save people? I know I could load it, but I just want to keep going the route of fucking female Kratos. Okay, load. And I urge you to take it again. How do I get you to not kill people? Load. What about this one? What was I doing here? Oh, it went back to this. Okay, nope. Probably gonna drug me now. Is the tea gonna be drugged? Yep. Tea was drugged. Yep. Now I'm just kind of skipping a little bit. Well, this is a new note. I don't feel like murdering anyone today. This is a whole new note. This would be a weird romantic note to get from someone. I don't feel like murdering anyone today. Wow. Despite himself, John laughed. At least he thought she meant it as a joke. Wow. When he looked up and saw Lizzie around the corner, she smiled before vanishing. He drifted through several classes. Okay. Might be a different ending then. Lie. I'm going to do an additional save. Though I think I'm getting close to the point that I'm probably to consult a guide. But I think I can at least get one more achievement or ending. Well, we're running away together. No. Okay, so I'll probably call this a part because there's 3 more achievements and there's some more endings, and I know there's definitely a really good positive ending. Well, no, it's how much time do I got? 112. Let's try one more time. And with no bonus. Original balance. I'm going to try to do everything perfect and maybe I'll get a good ending. Okay, smile. Leave a note. And wrote thanks. Okay. If it was a prank, then I ought to throw the pranksters off. And if it was someone who meant well, hopefully they just take it as a normal gratitude. Okay, cool. He headed home. Once his homework was done, he quickly fell asleep. The next morning, he thought he spotted someone outside his window, but there was no one there. When he opened his locker the next day, the note was gone. You left me a note. It was almost too much. I took it home and I'll keep it forever and ever and ever. Okay. John realized that he was way over his head. I will say yes. I will skip ahead. I will just go home early. The world seemed even greater than usual. He needed to rest. John shuffled home and went straight to bed. He slept like a stone, and when he woke up, he felt rather refreshed. The task no longer seemed impossible. He just had to get Lizzie through Friday, then they had the whole weekend to get her some help. Friday, okay. Oh, so I don't have a... You literally brought up making chloroform. Well, we fucked female Kratos again. So, I am going to check this real quick. It is nothing of use. Gallery. Let's see what I have left. Okay. I have whatever this one missing pick. Ah, I have quite a few. Okay. So I'm missing a few options. Anyway. So I'm gonna look. I am going to now look up in a guide how to actually get a proper ending. Now, granted, I did get a good ending my first time through, but there's apparently probably a better. Well, technically, I've gotten 2 good endings now, but possibly 3 if I remember wrong. But yeah, apparently there's 3 more achievements I need to do, and a really good ending. So I need to look up how to actually do that, because I'm not going to figure that on my own. So, hope everyone had a good day. Bye.